Dave. Hello, Dave. Hi. All right. All right. Give me 5 minutes, and I'll text you a picture of the shuttle. All right. All right. morning.
Morning, any weapons?
No. You too.
So we can prove that everybody hit him right now. He's got one off the back too. Off the side.
Looks like you guys like one of the first ones off the ship. Usually there's a long line when I pull in here. This is very rare that I see only 3 people in line. Usually I'm on the back of the line over here. That's good. What time's your flight?
2.
Oh, you do have to spend a lot of time at the airport.
Yeah, that's all right.
We had no idea how long this was going to be.
Yeah, they're very efficient. Facial recognition and all that. They're very efficient.
Yeah.
They're the best at it because they have the experience with the theme parks, you know.
Right.
So in Disney World, when you buy a ticket to go to Disney World and they put a wristband on, did they put a wristband on you in here or no?
No.
I think they tried to do that and people sued them. Because when you go to Disney World, they put a GPS wristband on you, and they know where you are in the park.
I see.
And people didn't like that. People didn't like. They sued them and they stopped doing it. They also they still do the background check. But when you go to Disney World in Orlando, they can refuse entry based on your background. So they only take an ID that can be put in the computer, like a swipe, like a strip on a license,
right.
or the barcode on a passport. Yeah, they won't take a birth certificate or any kind of voter's registration. They'll only take something they can swipe in the computer,
So I can look you up.
and so they can look you up, and then that's how you get the wristband. And if they don't want to give you entry, they refund your parking, and they just say sorry, you're not allowed in, and they don't tell you why.
Oh,
Yeah, so they're really good at they're really good at that. I should probably go through this way again. Let me see. Yeah.
So how many times today will you do this?
I don't do this a lot. I do this once a day, twice a day. My main job is from Fort Lauderdale Airport to Miami Cruise Port.
wow.
Yeah, this job I really don't do unless it's 8 people, 10 people, 12 people, because it's so close. It's like literally a 5-minute drive. But and you could, well, not you because you have 8 people, but a lot of people could take an Uber or a taxi here, right? But a lot of people don't want to take an Uber or a taxi to Miami, and that's a dangerous trip on I-95 from Fort Lauderdale to Miami. It's the most I-95 South is the most dangerous highway in America.
Wow.
And the distance and the span between where Trump lives, pretty much Palm Beach to Miami, is the most dangerous part of I-95.
Wow.
So that hour drive is the most dangerous hour drive in our country. Yeah, and I have to do that 7-8 times a day.
What makes it dangerous?
Just crazy people. Or just
Well,
accidents?
first of all, one of the main reasons why is there's an express lane that the GPS navigation on your phone doesn't recognize, and a lot of because it's got plastic cones
Okay.
that can be driven over, though you're not allowed to. It's against the law. They call it lane diving when you go over the cones or try to go. So a lot of times the tourists are looking at their phone. They're in a hurry to get to Miami. They rented a car at Fort Lauderdale Airport. It's gonna tell me to take off my glasses.
Good morning there, Nicholas. No weapons. How are you?
Oh my God. I know, it's crazy. She's crazy. A lot of passengers laugh at her after that one interaction,
Yeah.
especially when if I don't take my glasses off, she'll say, "Nicholas, take off your glasses for me." And she knows me for 2 years, and she's saying, "Nicholas, take off your glasses." So silly with that voice,
Yeah,
right?
she's got a New York accent.
And that laugh,
Yeah.
that voice and that laugh is like same thing. Same thing every time I come back here. So anyway, like I was saying, so yeah, if you get on the express lane, there's nowhere to get off. It's a one-shot. Enter here at Fort Lauderdale, and then exit in downtown Miami.
Oh, wow.
So and then obviously you're looking at your GPS, and the GPS says to get off, right?
Right.
So now people don't know what to do. They don't know when the cones end. And a lot of cones are broken because people go over them. So some people see a little 4-cone opening,
Right,
and they
shoot.
go in,
Yeah.
and meanwhile that guy's coming this way. And
Right.
so that's one of the reasons why, probably the most dangerous reason why. But it's also because a lot of people are smoking pot and drinking liquor. It's South Beach, right? They're going to Miami. People from up and down the East Coast are going back and forth. There's also no law enforcement on that highway, so there's no radar, there's no police. It's too dangerous for them to be on the highway. So they don't, they actually wait on the fire engines and the ambulances and the police. They wait on the off ramps of right before where most of the accidents occur.
Jesus Christ.
And they wait for 911, and they're there within 3 minutes. They block off traffic. The tow truck comes. They get the tow truck. The ambulance comes. Sometimes they fly a helicopter, drop the helicopter to get the person if they passed away. And so every day that happens. And I would say almost every trip. So going from here to Miami, yes, there'll be one accident. Coming from Miami to Fort Lauderdale, probably one accident. So if I'm doing 8 jobs a day, 7 jobs a day, that's 14 trips. Usually there's 10 accidents in that one day. Yeah, and I'm talking cars flipped over, cars on the side, cars on fire, people, an oil tanker like that on the side with gas coming down. And I have all those videos. So that's a main reason why I'm busy, because that's a very common route from Fort Lauderdale to Miami, because the plane tickets are cheaper to come into Fort Lauderdale than it is to fly into Miami. So half the passengers that are cruising out of Port Miami are flying into Fort Lauderdale because they can save $80 a ticket. And a group like you, $80 a ticket, you know, it's
Right.
almost $1,000, right? So
Right.
it's easy to hire me for $150, $200. Round trip, $400, $450, right?
Right.
So they'd rather hire me to get them back and forth than to fly into Miami. And even if you fly into Miami, you still got to hire someone like me if you have a big group anyway. It's just going to be a little cheaper. Not a lot cheaper, just a little cheaper. Yeah.
Sounds like the rule is if you're gonna keep your cruise out of Miami, you better fly into Miami.
Well, yeah, I would, because I wouldn't. A lot of people don't know about the drive there. They don't know, and a lot of people do freak out. You know, a lot of people say, you know, "Sir, can you slow down?" They say to me while I'm driving, "Sir, be careful." "Sir, we have kids in the car," that kind of thing. And you know, I've been dealing with that for 8 years, so. And that's kind of weird, you know. It is kind of weird. You know, I try to keep up with traffic.
Right, if you don't keep up with traffic,
in the
you're a
left
hazard.
in the left lane, like
Right.
I'm in the left lane, keep always going as fast as the person in front of me, and
Right.
he's doing 85,
Right.
and I'm making sure I don't keep any space so nobody gets in front of me,
Right.
because I have plenty of videos
Right.
where little Mazda Miatas lose their fender trying to get in front of me and spin out and hit the wall, and I'm just going straight. I just keep going. With this big tank of a van with the metal bumpers,
Right.
a little car gets just nick my fender trying to pass me, and they're gonna spin around and hit the wall. Yeah. So it's a very common accident. So my theory is, don't let anybody try to pass me. I actually prevent accidents, I think, and I've never been in an accident. I feel like I prevent accidents from just staying in the left lane and going as fast as the car in front of me, and that's my driving style. And usually, if you're in the left lane, you're going the fastest on the highway, right? And there's no exits, so it's not like anybody should be slowing down. You're not really getting off.
Right.
It goes from one lane to 2 lanes, so every now and then it goes into a passing lane, so you can pass. But it is very dangerous, and that's some of the reasons why. But you know, it's a very dangerous, it's earned its reputation because of. Mostly because of that express lane and the speed, and then the tourism, and a lot of people are renting cars and getting into accidents too. And then we got Uber drivers with ball tires, you know, and it rains a lot here.
Right.
And I see it at the airport, like I'm dropping you off, and I always see the Uber drivers fly in front of me. They're in such a hurry, right?
Right.
And then I look at their tires are bald, front wheel drive cars with ball tires in the front, and they're taking people just like me back and forth from Fort Lauderdale to Miami. I have a couple of blowouts on camera right in front of me. People blow out and they go right across, get hit by other cars. Yeah, there's multiple car accidents, and it's always one person's fault. It's never two. One person causes multi-car accidents. It's a shame. We have the highest. We have, I think, the top 3 highest insurance rates in the country. South Florida does. Yeah, I pay $15,000 a year for this van. Yeah, and that's cheap, because I'm old and I've never been in an accident, and I have good credit. Some guys $20,000 a year, some guys $2,000 a month. Yeah, to get a 15-passenger van license, it's $2,000 a month for some people. Yeah, but if you hustle, you can make $1,000 a day. So that's the whole upside of it, right? It's a very profitable business. You can make a lot of money if you drive all day, every day, and then you have to have that money to pay all your expenses, you know, fees. Like I have to pay to drive into the airport. There's a transponder up here in the right-hand corner. As soon as I go in, they charge me $4.75. If I have to drive around once, they keep charging me. So and I'm not allowed to wait. Nobody's allowed to sit. The police tell you to move. But if you're trying to be efficient and get there early to pick up passengers, and they're not ready, the police will go like that. If you don't go, we'll take a picture of your license plate, issue you a $350 ticket, and then no matter what, you got to go around and still get billed. I mean, so you got to know this. You got to know the. You know, I wait right outside the airport. I track the flight, and I tell passengers, when you got your luggage, call me, and then I try to time it So by the time they're walking, I'm pulling up real slow.
Right.
You could go real slow in here. You just can't like stop, you know. Or maybe for a little bit you can, but it's like gambling. Is the police officer going to tell you to move? Because if he does, you got to do it. Right? If you don't do it, you're going to get a $350 ticket, and you don't even know you get the ticket because all he doesn't even tell you he's giving you the ticket. He just waits for you to slowly drive away and just takes out his phone, his personal phone, and just takes a picture of your license plate. Yeah. And then when he goes to lunch, he just does all the tickets right there. And the ticket gets mailed to you in the mail. Yeah.
That's gotta be pretty.
Yeah, they don't do it very often. It's just that those police officers are really working for the airport. They're on duty for the airport. The normal police officers in South Florida don't give tickets. They don't worry about it. They don't want to engage the public because I think half the public. I'm talking and I'm going the wrong way. Look at that. You see that? I just caught myself in the last minute. All right. That would have cost me $4.75 because I would have got charged for going down there, and then I would have went around. I would have got charged again. That's funny. You're going to Delta, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, so the cops that work here are on detail here, so their job is really, since it's no law enforcement, their job is to give tickets, tow cars and stuff. But the average law enforcement officer in South Florida does not want to engage the public. They don't want to use their body cam. They don't want to ask people, is that marijuana I smell in the car? Or have you been drinking? It's so common here, and people are flying here from states that they're allowed to smoke.
Right.
People are smuggling marijuana here all the time, and here you're not allowed to smoke marijuana. You're not. You go to jail. In Fort Lauderdale, you go to jail for smoking. And people are just rolling down their windows. Yes, officer. And the smoke is coming out of the car. And the police officer says, "Where are you from?" "I'm from Colorado."
Right.
Well, do you know in Fort Lauderdale, you're not allowed to smoke and drive. You're not allowed to smoke. Period. So it's very common. So the police, since tourism is the main reason why Florida is so popular, for several years now, I'd say 8 years, the police have just laid off and let us be free, and that's why Florida is one of the reasons why Florida is so great. I think it's less police officers proactively looking to write tickets and take people to jail. That doesn't happen here, which is why it's a very great place to live and vacation. There's very little interaction with law enforcement here. All right, so you're gonna it's any one of these doors is Delta. It's only like 2-3 airlines here, so I'll let you out right here. So, everybody look up here. See this piece of metal? Be careful, I'll hit it with that.